Well, let me just say right now, Denny, today's date, October 1st, 2014. My name is Alex Primm, and I'm interviewing Mr. Denny Whayne here at his home in Springfield, Missouri for the Missouri State University Route 66 Oral History Project. And this is a recorded interview that people will listen to in the future, and I think they're going to be interested in what you remember about growing up in Springfield and Highway 66. What is your strongest memory of Route 66 when you were a young guy? Did it stand out in some way?
Well, I think that in order to go east or west, you got to come to Springfield.
Right.
So that brought everybody. That brought all the big time entertainers. That brought, people that were traveling, and it was 2 lanes. Mm-hmm. So I lived just a block from there, north of there, and it was quite busy. There's traffic all the time.
Do you remember any of the particular entertainers who might have traveled here on Route 66?
Yes, Nat King Cole played at the Shrine Moss. Mahalia Jackson, Ella Fitzgerald, Billy Eckstein. They all stopped here and entertained.
Uh-huh.
Whether it was going east or whether it was going west. Mm-hmm.
So you had a lot of good entertainment.
Yes, sir.
Here in Springfield.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
What was it like when you were a young man? Were there tourists? Were there people looking for work? What kind of traffic did you have on Highway 66?
Well, I think it was mostly people, vacationers.
Uh-huh.
People traveling east and west.
Uh-huh. Let me ask you a little bit about your boyhood. Could you say the date and the year you were born and the place?
I was born January the 8th, 1945 in Springfield, Missouri.
Okay.
I was born about a block away from Graham's Barbeque.
Now that was
City Hospital.
That was right on Route 66, wasn't it?
Yes, sir.
So you could smell that barbecue when you were growing up.
Well, yes, because my grandfather lived a block north of Graham's, and I used to stay with him a lot of times in the summertime. And of course, we didn't have air conditioning back then. We had the windows, what do they call it, 240, 2 windows up and 40 miles an hour wind. And but I would lay up at night in upstairs with the windows open, and then a Roman would come up north there and about choke me.
I'll bet it made you hungry.
Yeah, yes, it did, and I found a way to get me 2 pennies. Go down there and get me a barbecue sandwich for 2 pennies.
Now, how could you do that?
Well, Mrs. Graham would let us kids come down there and get a sandwich, 2 pieces of bread and barbecue sauce for 2 pennies.
Wow.
And then if we happen to get lucky to get a dime, we get a bag of chips or Fritos and put barbecue sauce on. 12 cents.
So that would fill you up pretty good.
Filled it up real good. Filled it up real good. In my opinion, it was the best barbecue in the United States.
Was there something special about the sauce?
Yes, it was.
What do you think they had in it?
They had some kind of barbecue, some kind of powder some kind of
Like herbs?
yeah, some kind of something in there that just had a certain flavor to it, and it wasn't real thick, but it wasn't runny neither, you know.
Uh-huh.
And you could, I mean, I when I was a kid, I'd put barbecue sauce on everything.
Uh-huh.
It was so good.
Yeah. Was it more of a vinegar type sauce or more a sweeter?
No, yeah, it was kind of a sweet sauce. I mean, it was a medium, nice. It was had a lot of powder paste. I think had a paste to it. They made it in a big vat. They had a big vat.
And they bottle it right there at the store?
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
Did your family go down to Graham's? Was it a popular place?
Yes, yes, it was. It was funny that it seemed like Graham's was the place for the entertainment, because on the weekends, I mean, families would get in their cars, drive down and park in front, not in front of the business, but on Washington Street, facing Graham's, just to see people go in and out. Go in and out of there. Now, when we were kids, I enjoyed going in there because they had she had some stews that would spin. And I go down there and you know, while they was fixing my little sandwich, I'd spin on them stews, and I thought that was kind of exciting.
How big a place was it? How many stools did they have there?
Oh, let's see. If I remember, they had about 6 or 7 stools at the counter, but they had some booths. They had about 6 or 7 booths too.
So they could put a pretty good crowd in there.
Yes, and if I remember, they had a drive-in window as well, I think. Yes.
So it was the most popular place of its kind in Springfield?
One of the places, yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Did your parents go there?
Well, they go there to get barbecue, yes. Yeah. Now, the local people wouldn't generally go in. They would go around to the side window. But
and get it to take home?
Yes. Get it to take home, that's right.
Yeah.
Right.
What kind of work did your dad do?
He worked at the Colonial Hotel. He was one of the top waiters there. And he had a cleaning service.
So he kept pretty busy.
Yes. Yes.
And how about your mom?
She was a housewife.
How many brothers and sisters did you have as you were growing up?
I had one brother. He's deceased now.
Did he spend most of his life in Springfield, or did he go elsewhere?
No, he moved to Kansas City in his later years, and unfortunately got killed in a car wreck.
That's really a shame.
Yes.
Well, Kansas City has a pretty famous, vibrant African American community there. The baseball Hall of Fame is there, and then the jazz, and there's just so much. Were you ever tempted to move to Kansas City yourself?
No. I moved to Tulsa in 1964, and I moved back to Springfield in 1972.
What was the attraction to you for Tulsa?
I was interested in visibility of blacks, of seeing them in top jobs and just being interacting with blacks, having more opportunities.
Right.
And so I moved to Tulsa.
What kind of work did you do there?
I worked at the aircraft. Douglas Aircraft.
Yeah, That's a good job.
Yeah. Yeah.
And were there black community organizations that you were part of?
I was part of NAACP, yes,
Uh-huh.
down there, and of course I've been part of the NAACP here. Worked in civil rights all my life, about 55 years.
That's really
I
great.
was president twice
Uh-huh.
of the NAACP, yes.
What do you think their accomplishment, that organization's accomplishment, has been in the Springfield area?
I think it has helped to open the employment arena for blacks,
Uh-huh.
working with the city and working with various companies.
When you were a young man, there was still segregation in hotels and for travelers,
Yes.
and probably in jobs, and that, I guess, still happens to some degree with the jobs, but has that noticeably improved?
Yes, it has.
That's
it
great.
has. The universities and has opened up, and Springfield has made quite progress.
Uh-huh.
It hasn't arrived yet, but
Uh-huh.
it has made great progress. Yes.
That's really good.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think a place like Graham's, that was a center for the community, was something that helped the community as a whole? Were white people going there?
Yes.
People of all ages?
Yeah. And Colonial, they was going out to the barbecue.
Uh-huh.
Unfortunately, unfortunately, it seemed like that whites were accepted more so in black establishments than blacks were in white establishments.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
There was something wrong with that picture.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's changed, or has changed, don't you? I know the Williams family has a barbecue up on Division Street.
Yes. Steve, yes.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
He's really done a good job.
Yes, he has. Yes, he has. And there's a rib shack.
Uh-huh.
Jennifer, she has two places.
Uh-huh.
Ribs. So there's been several barbecue establishments here
Uh-huh.
over the years. Yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it seems like food is something that we all need, and barbecue is something that takes a special touch to make it so it's really got some flavor.
Yes. And I don't know what Mrs. Grimm or Mr. Grimm, I don't know what the recipe was, but I know that there's only 3 people. Let's see, 1, 2, 3 other people that knew the recipe,
Uh-huh.
to my knowledge. Yeah.
And you have to have a friend who's got one of those recipes to be able to get any of it. Isn't that right? You have some now, don't you?
Some of the barbecue?
Yes.
Sauce? Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Oh, yeah.
But
I keep a gallon all the time.
Uh-huh.
She still, her daughter Elaine still makes it. Elaine lives in Des Moines, Iowa,
Uh-huh.
but she comes down and makes a bunch, and I think they ship it down south.
Uh-huh. So does she still sell it?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Mm-hmm.
That's great.
Mm-hmm.
What do you remember about Route 66 yourself? You have traveled it, haven't you?
Yes. I traveled it all the way to California.
When was that?
1970.
That was when things were really beginning to change and open up.
Yes.
What was your trip like? Who did you go with, and why did you go?
Two of my best friends.
Uh-huh.
We went from Tulsa, and we went out to see a friend in Los Angeles, and one of the friend's father owned a Frito company in San Francisco. So we took her to Frisco, and we stopped at the Grand Canyon. We stopped at the Petrified Forest. So
a lot of those famous national parks.
Yeah, along the way. Yes.
Did you have any problems when you were traveling with any kind of discrimination?
No, not that. No.
Things had really changed.
Things have changed. Things have changed. Somewhat, yes.
What do you remember most from that trip about Highway 66?
Well, it was a good highway to travel. Back then, I think it was 4 lanes. Yeah, 4 lanes, and you know, you could make good time. And we were trying to make good time.
Do you have any funny things happen to you?
Funny?
Yeah.
Along the way, let's see.
What kind of car were you all traveling in?
Our friend had a brand new 1976 Cutlass O's.
Oh yeah. That had fins on it, didn't it?
No.
No.
No. This one didn't. It was just a 76. It was a nice driving car.
Yeah, Oldsmobile was right up there with Buick, wasn't it?
Yeah, Buick, and it's a kind of a sport car, you know, 2-door.
Did you stay out in Los Angeles and the West Coast very long?
Let's see, we was out there probably we was out to Los Angeles because we was in Los Angeles. Probably we was there about a week. Because we went to see a friend of mine who used to live here. And then, well, first of all, we stopped in Phoenix, Arizona to see a friend, and we was only going to stop a couple of hours. We ended up staying there 2 days. And then we traveled on to Los Angeles and saw my friend, and then we traveled on to San Francisco.
So now this was 1970 or 76?
70.
70. Well, that Oldsmobile.
Wait a minute. It was a 1970 O's. I'm sorry.
Okay, 70 O's.
Yeah, 70 O's.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Yeah.
Well, you know, the dates aren't really all that important.
Well, you got to get the dates right, though. Yeah, it was a 70 O's.
Well, I think the main thing about a trip like that is the feeling it gave you all.
Yes.
That you were out really. What was the feeling? How could you describe what it's like to travel on 66? You know, for young black men of your age, did you feel the sense of what?
Well, we felt important. We were also I guess we felt the opportunity to try to get out and travel.
Right.
You know.
Yeah.
It was just a good feeling to be out there traveling, you know.
You married when you were about that age. Was your wife originally from Tulsa or Springfield?
Yes.
She was from Tulsa?
Yes.
And, but she didn't go with you on this trip. You got married later?
No.
But you moved back here to Springfield with her?
No. I got divorced and moved back.
Did you remarry after that one?
Yes, I did.
Married a Springfield woman?
Well, Clinton woman, yes.
Clinton? Yeah.
And yeah, so I don't know, married an Oklahoma woman and a Missouri woman, and so I don't know.
Well, two's enough.
Yeah. For me it is.
Yeah, for me too.
Yeah.
So, did you raise a family?
Yes, I have 2 kids.
I
have a boy and a girl. The boy lives in Tulsa, and the girl lives in Kansas City.
But they were born in Springfield?
No, they were born in Tulsa.
Oh, they were born in Tulsa. Okay.
Yes.
Did you ever take any road trips with them?
Oh, yes. We went to Detroit in 1967.
Did you go up along Highway 66 up towards Chicago?
Yes, went to Chicago, and when we got to Waukegan, Michigan, I think, we took a ferry and went over, and took the ferry over to Detroit.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, it's probably from Illinois.
I mean Illinois.
Or maybe even Wisconsin.
Well, I think it was Waukegan, Illinois.
Okay.
Yeah.
But you took it across the Lake Michigan.
Yes.
I bet that was fun.
Yeah. Yeah. The kids were small, and we just decided, well, we'll have a little fun here. Yeah. We took a couple young ladies with us that we kind of our goddaughter, so we were just having fun.
Yeah.
But that was a good trip as well.
Did you stop at any place on Highway 66 that you happen to remember in Illinois or St. Louis or going up that way from Springfield?
Well, we might stop to get gas and, something to eat, but we didn't stop overnight. No.
Yeah. You don't remember any particular spots?
Oh, I see. We stopped in, let's see.
Did you...
St. Louis. We stopped.
Did you stop in Lebanon?
No.
Because there's a small African-American community there in Lebanon.
Yes, I know about that.
You knew some of those people?
Yes. The Ropers and the Dartons and the Meachams and yeah.
So they were pretty active.
Yeah.
They had their own NAACP and...
Yeah. Neil, Reverend Neil and Reverend Harry Gibbons.
So, you had a lot of chances to travel as you were growing up.
Yes, that was one of my fortes. Was traveling. I enjoyed traveling. Yes.
How about music? Did you play music at all?
Well, I started out playing drums. My brother was a very good drummer, and I was a halfway good drummer. And then when we got to that was in elementary school. We both played in the high school band.
What was your elementary school here?
I went to Boyd Elementary.
Okay.
I was 4th grade. I was when the 1954 Brown versus Board of Education, Topeka, Kansas.
Right.
That's when the integration took place. So I opted to go to Boyd in the 4th grade. That was 1955. I think it was.
Right. How did that work out?
Fine. Because I already knew a lot of the kids from the neighborhood, because we lived all around the neighborhoods. And we knew a lot of the kids, but we just couldn't go to school with them. So finally, we got the opportunity to go to school with them.
I think you said when we talked earlier that the black community had several neighborhoods around Springfield.
Yes, that's right.
What were those neighborhoods?
Westport, Southtown, Northside, and East End.
So there'd be more black families living in those areas.
Yeah, this spots of, you know.
And but they generally got along well with their neighbors.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Uh-huh.
You know, there's a few little incidents, but nothing real big.
Right.
A lot of neighborhoods were integrated. You know.
Yeah, Springfield. To me, I've been coming here for years. I've just lived here 3 years, but it seems like a pretty relaxed city.
Yes.
It's not, you know, the pace here is a little slower than the bigger cities.
I'd say Springfield could have been the first school system to integrate.
Really?
Besides, now the Pekin-Kansans,
right?
You know, I don't know how soon they
were actually able to implement
after the law. Yes, but we did it in '54. The summer. I mean the fall.
Right.
Yeah.
And it was pretty smooth.
Yes. It's pretty smooth.
There must have been a pretty good school board, pretty good.
Had a good school
superintendent.
System. Well, and it had to do with numbers.
You
know, it had to do with numbers.
Well, that's really great. Let me go back and ask you a little bit more about Route 66, because that's what the people who are interested in this history project want to find out more about. You talked about the Graham's Barbecue. Now there was a hotel near there, wasn't that a popular place also?
Yes.
What was the name of the hotel?
Alberta's Hotel.
Alberta's?
Alberta's. Yeah, it was just right off of Route 66.
How close was it to the Graham's?
Just about a half a block.
What did they have at the hotel? Do you have how big it was?
Well, it used to be the city hospital where I was born. And they used to rent rooms to the soldiers that would come up from Fort Leonard Wood on the weekend that just wanted to come to town, come to Springfield. Also, Goose Tatum stayed there.
The Globetrotters guy.
Yeah, the Globetrotters guy. And that was Urban Logan's grandmother. Yeah.
Who's part of the Philharmonics?
No.
Oh no, who we were talking about earlier.
Urban Logan lives in St. Louis.
Right, but he grew up
here.
Right, with you in Springfield.
Yes.
Yeah.
That was his grandmother.
What did they have at the hotel besides rooms to rent? Did they have a dining room? Did they have barber shop?
They had a barber shop in it. It turned into they did. They had a barber shop in there, yes.
How about a beauty salon?
No, not the no.
You probably wouldn't have paid attention to that.
But they had Moss and Dempsey barber shop in it, deluxe barber shop in there, if I remember. Yes.
It was really a nice place.
Yes.
So this hotel, Alberta's, had a good reputation.
Yes.
Did they? Who had the cabins? There's one of the sandstone cabins left here in Springfield.
Graham's had the cabins.
Graham's had the cabins.
Graham's had the cabins. They had 3 or 4 of them there in the back that they would house the blacks that come to. Because at that time blacks couldn't stay in the hotels, the public accommodations. So
that wasn't until 1960 that law was changed, wasn't it? 64 maybe.
64 or 5, yes.
So that hotel stayed in business, and also the Grahams.
Yes.
They both had accommodations.
And then a lot of the entertainers stayed with a lot of the local people.
I bet they were glad to have the entertainers.
Right off the highway, you know.
Yeah. What happened to the hotel? did did Alberta close it up? She didn't get as much business?
I think so. I think it finally just closed, yes.
Does she have family still living in Springfield?
No, but her daughter, Irma's mother, lives in St. Louis.
Oh, that's right.
Her name is Elizabeth. We call her Cricket.
Yeah. Is it Ora?
Logan, yes.
Yeah. So she worked at the hotel? Or did she?
Yes, I think she did. We were little, you know. I mean, not little, but we were young, and I think she worked there. Yes.
Yeah, we're going to have to map this all out.
Yeah.
Because that was a pretty big part of the community.
Yes.
The hotel.
Yes.
The barbecue.
Yes.
Were there other things near there that?
Now, right near there, right in the back of there, Dempsey Pike had a barber shop.
Oh, okay.
Right there in Jones Alley. Now, if you go right one block south is Tampa Street. There were lots of things. There were businesses. There was Bub Williams had a barber shop on Tampa. There was what they called a Rock Castle. Rock Castle was apartment where families stayed.
Right.
Ships. The Ships family stayed at Rock Castle for a long time. And then there was a sportsman had a pool hall.
Yeah. Now the Gibson Heights Church is right near
Gibson Chapel Church on the corner of Tampa and Washington.
And that's been there a long time, hasn't it?
Yes. And on the other corner, coming west, is Pitts Chapel. There at the corner at the end of the Martin Luther King Bridge is Pitts Chapel.
Oh, and that was mainly an African American community church?
Yes. And then you go go north of that was the Community Youth Center where all the kids grew up. That's where the Jordan Valley dental office is now.
Oh yeah. So there are a lot of facilities there for people.
Yes. Well, I mean, then they had a Hunt's store right in the middle, all of it, white store there, white-owned store right there next to the community center and Pitts Chapel.
And they were good people.
Yes.
Everyone liked them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, they were good people.
Yeah. So this was really a center for the African American community along Highway 66.
Kind of one of the hubs, yes.
Yeah, there was a lot of stuff: churches, stores, barbecues.
And then right across from right north of 66, they used to have a cab company, DMB cab stand. Darton and Bartley cab stand. Years ago.
Yeah. What about auto repair and auto dealers? Were there any automobile businesses that were African American?
No dealers.
No dealers. How about repair?
Well, in that area?
Yeah. Along 66 in general.
Along 66? On down, right down there by well, it used to be the Viaduct before it was Martin Luther King Bridge. It used to be the Benton Viaduct.
Right.
Was Louis Wilcox. He had a automobile. He just
garage.
Yeah, you know, shade tree garage. Yeah.
But he could take care of whatever was
a lot of people
ailing your car.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
I've been down there. I would go down there several times when I had my car.
Yeah. He knew what to do with it.
By sound.
Yeah. That's in the day where people, if they were smart, could repair their own car.
Yes.
They didn't have to have a lot of computers. There weren't any computers. Right.
There weren't no computers.
You could work under the shade tree.
Yes.
And listen and figure it out.
Yes, sir.
How about, let me change the subject and ask about the food markets and farmers. Were there any African American farmers or people growing crops that would bring their crops into Springfield that you knew of?
No. I knew some people that owned a farm. The Tollivers owned a bunch of land. Big farm were out off a battlefield. But they never. I don't think they ever bought any crops, into for sale.
Yeah, they were more into commercial.
Yeah.
Agriculture.
Yeah, we used to go out there as Boy Scouts and shear their sheep. And stuff like that, but nothing to. That they would bring for for any kind of for sale or anything, to my knowledge.
Yeah. Did you, when you and I are about the same age, what happened for you during the draft in the Vietnam War? Did they try to get you?
Well, 1963.
Yeah.
They were drafting everybody, and everybody was going to Nam.
Right. That's when it got started.
Yeah, that's where it got started. 63. Now my friends, my name come up. Well, let's see. For a year and a half, when you turn 18, they send you out the questionnaire.
Right.
Well, I sent it back. They sent it back to me, said I filled it out wrong. Filled something out wrong. I sent it back. They sent it back to me. They said I filled something else out wrong. And so, at that time, I was 4F, I believe. 4F, they wasn't taking 4F.
Right.
Draftees at that time.
Yeah.
So I was fortunate I didn't get drafted. A lot of my friends and buddies did.
Yeah.
A lot of them joined.
Yeah. And that's the same time when the civil rights, that's known as the civil rights era.
Yeah,
things started to change.
It started getting heavy, yes. And I was very much involved with it, yes.
When you moved back to Springfield, you said you served on the city council?
Yes.
How did that start out? What got you involved with the city council?
Well, some people, when I moved back, I got involved with community, activities and things, and then 1998, I guess, I was approached to run for city council. But I lived outside the city at the time. And the requirement to serve on city council, you have to be a resident of the city for 2 years.
Right.
And so I thought about it. So finally, I decided. I said, well, I think maybe I'll run. But first of all, I got to move back in the city.
Right.
So I moved back in the city, and I start forming a committee. And I formed the committee and started raising money and started campaigning. And in 2000, I got elected to the city council. First black in over 105 years.
Oh my goodness. What did you tell the people? Why did you want to run for city council?
Well, I wanted to represent the people. I wanted to help improve, try to improve the city of Springfield, whatever. And in order to do that, you have to be at the table.
Right. Are there one or two accomplishments that you think back on that you feel were worthwhile that you helped along during your service on the city council?
Well, I sponsored a bill to change the name of Benton Viaduct to Martin Luther King Jr. Bridge.
Right.
And another one was there was a neighborhood called Cotton Heights over here off of Nichols, and a lady had 32 rundown houses.
Right.
Renters had been in them, and they were run down, and it was running the neighborhood down. And so I got together with a developer named Matt Miller, and asked him, and we talked and told him, we said, you know, I got a project you might be interested in. Let's go look at this project. And he said, what is it? I said, well, and these houses, she was about to lose them. And so I said, here's an opportunity for you to get these houses at a cheap price, and you could go in there and redo them and then make them owner occupied. And that's just what he did. He went in there and spent about $1.5 million renovating the houses and so forth, and made them all owner occupied, and the neighborhood increased the value of the neighborhood, and so
it helped out the neighborhood.
Yes, yes.
I imagine on the city council you got involved in a lot of smaller issues in that. A lot of day-to-day things you had to.
Oh yes, yeah. We were it was 8 council people and the mayor. It was 9 of us, and we actually we set the direction of the city.
Right.
You know, we ran. I mean, we determined how the direction of the city was going to go. Yes.
So you think you had a real voice there?
I want to think I did.
Yeah.
I hope I did.
Yeah. What do you think would be appropriate way for the city to remember the black community, particularly as it was along Highway 66? Do you think there's something there that people need to remember for the future?
Well, there wasn't a whole lot of African American businesses or whatnot along I-66, but
you mean US 66?
I mean US 66. Well,
right.
I say I-66.
Right.
US.
They're talking about an I-66,
yeah,
but they don't have one yet.
Yeah, I know. That's what was on my brain. Yeah.
Right.
I don't. The fact that most of that stuff is non-existing.
Right.
Now.
It's all gone.
It's all gone. Yeah. The churches are still there, and that's
right.
that's about the only thing.
Yeah.
To be honest. But it was good memories.
Yeah.
Good memories.
What makes them good memories?
It's just a camaraderie that, see, back then it was about 15% black that were here.
Right.
And so it was this good camaraderie amongst the people.
People could gather there?
Yes.
Is there anything like that now?
No.
So that was really the heart of the African American community.
I mean,
right there along 66.
I mean, yes. I mean, they didn't want you to get in the way of their business, you know. But
right.
yeah, it was. I mean, you go down there on Friday night and you see cars parked down there, just parked.
Right.
And you think you're going to a park or something.
Because people were visiting and seeing their friends. They'd be maybe going to the hotel to see somebody, going to the barbecue, going to the barber shop.
Barbershop, yeah, I mean, when it was open, yeah, I mean, that was a focus. That was a kind of like a hub, you know.
Right. Yeah.
But it seems like all of that is gone now. And Springfield has kind of grown, and the people are scattered out.
Right.
The people, we're not as close now as we were back then.
Yeah. Right. So that was sort of like a golden age for the black community, because you had these places. There was the youth center. Yes. There were the churches, the hotel, restaurant.
Yeah.
I mean, they were all right together. So it was.
Yeah.
You don't have anything, you know, a physical place like that other than the churches where people get together.
No. Not anymore.
Yeah.
To my knowledge, I'm trying to think. No.
So the Route 66 sort of provided a focus in some ways.
Well, with Grimm's, I mean, you know, Grimm's was the drawing.
Yeah.
You know, the drawing card. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Things were happening there. People would come.
Yeah, coming and going. You know, coming and going.
Did the hotel have a dance hall or a ballroom?
Well, it didn't. I mean, people. It wasn't that big of a dance hall, but I think, if I remember, they did. You know,
there might be some parties there.
There might be some parties in there. Yeah. Yeah. It wasn't a big, elaborate building. You know, it was like I say. I think it used to be the city hospital. Right. At one time.
Yeah. Well, I think your friend Irv Logan will be able to tell us more about it, and his mother.
Yes.
And
yes, they have more remembrance of it than I do, and involvement as well.
Yeah. Right. Well, I've asked you a lot of different things, but I think the main thing I think about your memories is that this area was really a community place along 66 there. I think that's, you know, that's something that Springfield doesn't have anymore for the black community, and really for other communities either. You know, I'm studying Chinese now.
Oh, okay.
And I got interested in that when I was in Vietnam, but the Chinese community is sort of the same way. There's a lot of Chinese restaurants, and the Chinese students, there's a lot of them here now at the university.
Well, they got the Chinese chicken, you know, going for them.
Yeah, the cashew chicken.
I mean, the cashew chicken, that's what I mean, yeah.
Do you remember when that got started?
Oh, no.
No.
No, but I know I partake of it from time to time.
Yeah, it can be good.
Yeah.
There's a lot of different ways of making it.
Yeah, when I go up there to Shanghai Inn, that's where I get mine.
They do the best job?
Well, for me. I mean,
right.
You know, just for me, I don't know.
Yeah.
I like it up there.
Yeah. Yeah, that's one thing about Chinese people, is the food is what they really...
Yes.
When you say hello, they say, have you eaten yet?
Yes.
They really love their food.
Yes. Yes.
And I think probably African American people are a little bit like that too with food.
Well, we're food driven.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're food driven. That's right.
Yeah, sometimes I think us white people, the Anglos, sometimes have gotten hung up on fast food.
Yeah, well, we got hung up on cooked food.
Cooked food, yeah, slow cooked.
Cooked food, yeah, we cook food, yeah.
Yeah, well, nowadays there's so many different styles of food available for people.
Yeah, everybody's in a hurry now, so they stop and get the fast food. You know?
But I think there's a lot of people who really do value a barbecue and something that is taking a little more effort.
That's what Kansas City is known for.
Is the barbecue.
The barbecue, yeah.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Yeah. Well, we've talked about a lot of things. I want to ask David if he thinks of anything we ought to bring up in this oral history.
No, I think that's great.
Yeah.
Covered a lot of topics.
Yeah. Denny's got a good overview, I think, of Springfield. And growing up right along Highway 66 is unique.
I'm trying to think.
Did your father, who worked at the Colonial motel, did he have any memories of working there in terms of people coming in?
He's deceased.
Right, but did he ever tell you what it was like to work there at the Colonial hotel?
Well, he said this. You know, he'd always say there was, you know, there some interested people would come there. You know, come in and out. I can't remember anybody ever told me that was there that he served. You know, but they served a lot of big parties. You know. The big party, they was more or less over the dining area, and they had a boss who was very interesting though, named Joe Thompson. He was a very interesting man. His wife started the Philharmonics out of Gibson Chapel. They came out of Gibson Chapel. Philharmonic Quartet.
And what did he do at the hotel?
Who?
Mr. Thompson?
He was over the whole dining area. He was more or less a supervisor, I guess you would say.
Did that become an integrated hotel? Did it last for have a good business?
Colonial?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it did over the years. Yeah, Colonial. And Kentwood both. Once we picketed at Kentwood, when we threatened to picket the Kentwood Arms, when the Vice President Richard Nixon was supposed to come here to speak.
Right.
And they thought it might be an embarrassment.
Right.
So the city commissioner got together with the city fathers and they made a decision that they better open up all the public accommodations.
And make sure they were really open.
Yes.
That's great. Yeah.
You know, I can say Springfield has been good to me. And I think I've been good at Springfield.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's not the best place to live, but it's not the worst place to live.
No. Yeah, I think Springfield is a really pleasant community.
Yes.
Let me ask you one thing about your family history.
Yeah.
Your last name has a little bit unusual spelling.
Yeah.
With the H in it.
Yeah.
What do you know about your family name?
I tell everybody we broke away from John Wayne in 1872 and put an H in our name.
Yeah.
Well, my grandfather, they migrated. They came up the Kentucky, from Kentucky to Arkansas. And they settled in Bentonville, Arkansas.
Okay.
My grandfather grew up with Sam Walton.
Oh, wow.
About 3 doors down from Sam Walton.
Uh-huh.
I had a second cousin who worked with Sam Walton for 54 years.
Oh, wow.
So I was fortunate. I was fortunate to be able to meet Sam and Helen. Now let's see. I had a cousin that had a sister that lived here, and cousin Elizabeth lived in Bentonville. Well, Miss Helen Walton would bring her up to see her sister once a month.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's really nice.
Drive her up here. Of course, she had a driver. Ronnie was Miss Walton's driver, but she would come up here once a month. Bring cousin Elizabeth to see her cousin, to see her sister. Yeah. But my grandfather grew up. My dad was born in Bentonville.
So you think the Waltons are pretty good people?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Well, he's sort of famous for being a down-to-earth guy.
Yeah.
Mr. Sam Walton was.
He wasn't a flamboyant type person. I'll tell you a little story. Miss Walton was giving my cousin Elizabeth a surprise birthday party.
Yeah.
And cousin Elizabeth and I's birthday the same day. So they called me and wanted me to come down to Bentonville to surprise her.
Oh yeah.
Okay. So my cousin and I, which is cousin Edna's daughter, we rode to Bentonville. Had a big party at the Ramada Inn, and here come all these people with all these furs and things.
Wow.
So the party was going pretty good, and looked up, and here come Mr. Walton. He come in his bib overalls. He had been duck hunting.
That's great.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's a true story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is really something.
Yeah.
He came to the party and he helped. He paid for the party.
Yeah, he paid for the party.
That's really great.
He came in his bib overalls because he just come from duck hunting.
Yeah. Well, that's really great.
Yeah.
So that's really sort of an Ozark story.
Yeah, and they didn't live in a fancy house.
Yeah.
They had a nice house with a waterfall in the front of it, and you know.
But it wasn't a castle.
No.
It's just a nice, good-sized house.
Yes.
Okay, Denny, I think we got enough story. He's probably about to run out of film here.
Well, I hope I gave you something to...
Yeah.
Yeah, well, thank you very much.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
I forgot one thing in the interview. We was talking about Temple Street.
Yes.
One of the funeral homes is right off of Route 66.
Okay.
Yeah, Smith Funeral Home.
Okay. I'll write that down because we can add that.
Herbert Smith.
So that was a pretty active place.
Yes. Yeah. It was Temple, the corner of Temple and Jefferson. Which is right off of Route 66.
Did that? What was it? It was Smith.
Smith.
Okay.
Smith.
Did they move on from that location?
No.
So they closed it.
Yeah.
What? 1950s. 60s.
Let's see. I can't remember when they passed it. Let's see. He retired. I can't remember what year it was.
But that was an active funeral home for the community.
Yes. Smith's Funeral Home.
So this Route 66 was really sort of a center for the black community with all those different businesses.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. At some point, we're going to have to draw up a little map so we know where all these things are and where people lived.
Well, yeah, right north of Route 66 on Washington, all that was a predominantly black neighborhood.